For some insight on China's trade ties with Colombia and Latin America, Charles Tang joins us now from Rio de Janeiro. He is chairman of the Brazil-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So Charles, this is Ivan Duque's first state visit to China as Colombia's president. And we just heard about trade and economic investment from his end. But how does China see Colombia?
Well, I think that China sees Colombia and the rest of Latin America and the Caribbean as places where China can really play a significant role to help these countries develop. And the same thing that Colombia is saying is what China is doing all over South America, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Building infrastructure in a win-win philosophy.
How much have U.S. trade policies impacted Colombia's turn to China, as well as other countries' turn to China away from the United States, as they are hoping for more trade and investment?
Well, the trade war is very unfortunate because it's a lose-lose proposition, and it has benefited several Latin American countries to a great extent. For example, Brazil exported about 90% of its soybean crop to China, and it even imported American soybean for its own consumption with a 25% discount. So in 2014, I wrote an article in China for the newspaper, one of the major newspapers, saying that U.S. backyard is growing a Chinese garden. And the United States used to be very active in Latin America, but recently it has more or less not been so active in this part of the world.
So that being said, we know it's no surprise South America is a very important region to China. And as we speak, Foreign Minister Wang Yi has been visiting Chile after stopping in Brazil. China is also part of APEC and the BRICS regional blocs. How will these relationships continue to grow?
Well, I think that, President Bolsonaro in Brazil, who's a big fan of the United States, and I think he should be. The United States is a great country. The American people are great people. But he realizes that China is Brazil's #1 partner, strategic partner. And he will visit China in October. And I believe that the Brazilian and Chinese relationship will only grow from this visit. And Vice President Mourão just visited China, and he came back with a very, very good impression. It was even received by Chairman Xi Jinping.
Let's turn to Colombia for one moment. A free trade agreement is something that was discussed with Duque's predecessor, Juan Manuel Santos. Where do you think things stand, and could we see some sort of free trade agreement between Colombia and China?
Yeah, I think it would be very, very beneficial for Colombia, as it has been for Chile and for Peru that have free trade agreements with China. I think that Colombia, once it develops a free trade agreement with China, will benefit. Its economy will grow very fast, much faster, and it will greatly benefit from such a free trade agreement.
All right, Charles Tang, thank you so much for joining us from Rio de Janeiro. We appreciate it.